Hi, this is Christina with White Mountain Endurance, and today I wanted to talk about how age is just a number. I'll start by saying years ago, I was very fortunate to have surrounded myself with a lot of people who were very athletic and were much older than me. And my perspective on aging might be a little bit skewed because of my experiences with people who were much older than me out there doing incredible things, racing, raising a family, working jobs, but still putting themselves out there and staying in shape. So that really was all I really knew and understood because that's how I was shaped. A lot of us fall into the norm where there's a point in our life you play sports in school, play sports in college, you graduate, and you're like, well, I guess it's time for me to focus on a career. A lot of people start working up their ladder in the career path. They choose to have a family, get a partner, buy a house. So we start to become an adult, and becoming an adult is awesome. I mean, it's great to be able to have a job that you love, have a house, have a partner, have children, have the life that you want to live. But the problem is, we're also told that we're not allowed to play anymore. And becoming responsible shouldn't mean you don't play. It shouldn't mean you don't have fun. But what it means is you have to find balance. And finding balance is extremely hard to do. So, this talk is really for people who are feeling like they're stuck, feel like they're too old, feel like they've given themselves to their family, their career, and their partner for many, many years. And now they find themselves being empty nesters or retired, and you have all this time on your hand and you're totally out of shape. And you're like, what the heck do I do with myself now? With my clients that I'm coaching, I've been really fortunate to experience people of all different ages, different genders, and what I'm really loving is my clients that have become empty nesters or retired and they're in their 60s and they want to finally do something for themselves, which is amazing. You shouldn't ever feel like you're too old to get started, and you should never feel like your life is kind of done. So, whether you're an empty nester, whether you just lost a spouse and you're looking to find a way to enjoy your life more, it's not too late to go out and adventure. It's not too late to learn how to exercise. There are so many sports out there for you to pick from that it might be a great time for you to dabble in cycling, dabble in swimming, dabble in running, hiking. There are just a bazillion different things you can do. Skiing, backcountry skiing. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So, playing around with different sports is an awesome thing, and it gives you an opportunity to figure out what you enjoy the most and also what community you like, because the community around each sport is pretty different. And having been at the competitive level in many different sports, I thought it was really interesting to see the dynamic between people involved in the other sports and what the community looks like. So, running is probably the easiest one to get involved in. All you need is a pair of sneakers, some motivation, and some people that are willing to walk with you if you have to walk in the beginning. Group runs are a fabulous place, especially if you can find a no drop group run, to get out there and have people encourage you to start moving. And you may find yourself just doing a mile in the beginning and just a mile of walking, but most people in a group run will spend that time walking with you, and then gradually you'll start adding in jogging. And next thing you know, you're doing 5 miles and you're running and you're at like a 10 or 11 minute pace. I mean, it's amazing. And some of the fun things that are happening with my clients that I'm coaching in their 60s is they are expanding their minds to bigger adventures. 50 miles, 100 miles, ripping around the White Mountains. And how cool to be able to set these goals for yourself. So it can be really daunting when you're sitting there, especially if you've never done this before, you don't know how to get started. But It starts by taking that first step or getting on a bike and cycling those first 2 miles. And then you may find that the longer distances appeal to you. Really cool fact, as we get older, we start to gain more endurance, which means we can go longer. We may not be speedy like you could be in your 20s, maybe 30s, at like the 5K. You can still be fast, but you might not be at your fastest. But as time goes on, you're able to be out there for an extended period of time. And I also feel that as we get older, we start to train smarter because we have more patience with ourselves. We know how to pace ourselves really well. So ultra distance tends to be something that a lot of people gravitate to as they get older, or if they have come out of a sport to, deal with life, and then life has changed and it's become a little bit easier to come back into the sport. So definitely a new and exciting challenge that you could create. In my experience in the past, kind of the way the cycle goes is when people are in their 20s, they feel like that's their prime. And society tells us that you've got to be in your 20s. Oh my God, you hit 30 and you are not in your prime. Well, physiologically, especially as a woman, 34, you start really entering that prime. So from the time I started becoming athletic when I was about 19, I just couldn't wait to be in my 30s. It's like, wow, I can be at the top of who I am and what I'm doing and do the best I can. And what I found was as I got older, I started to have more patience, more confidence, and the longer distance started to become easier. And I started seeing a lot of women in their 40s and 50s out there absolutely kicking ass, especially at the long distance stuff. So I'm like, wow, I'm kind of psyched to be in my 40s because now my body's going to be in a totally different place. Now, one important piece to the puzzle that I feel is like really important, especially if you're a woman, but also very important for men, is strength training. And I've been doing strength training for a very long time. I started by doing it for mountaineering many years ago and then kind of drifted away from it a little bit. And when I started to train for a bodybuilding competition, which was a bucket list thing, one of the things I found was like, holy cow, I am not injured like I used to be. I feel amazing on the trail. I'm not in as much pain after I go for a long run or bike ride. And there's something to this strength thing. Of course, the starvation piece to the bodybuilding competition, you don't feel good at nothing's fun at that point, but it gave me an opportunity to learn about my body, learn about food, realize that food is extremely important, but also how important strength training is. And as a woman, you start to lose bone very quickly as you age. And how do you stop that? How do you sometimes reverse the effects? How do you slow that process down? And that process is slowed down by lifting weights and not just lifting light, but by lifting heavy and putting on some bulk. Muscle is beautiful and it's not going to slow you down. It's not going to make you look gross. You can have beautiful muscle. And the beautiful thing about that is it's going to help your bones become a lot stronger so that you are not that little frail old person walking, tripping, and breaking your hip. Nobody wants that. Going back to some of my past experiences that have shaped me as I've gotten older is my career as a dental hygienist exposed me to so many different people. And I love people and I love research. So all of my patients were somewhat of a research project. I was curious. How could somebody be so active when they're so old? And when I started out in the dental career, I wasn't even 20 yet. And, I thought like people in their 60s and 70s were old. And I'm like, what the heck? These people are running and they're going on these bike trips. And how is that even possible? And again, it started to become a research project for me where I would see 35 and 40-year-olds coming in barely walking and no pep, no lust for life, like just not enjoying themselves. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be that 70 or 80-year-old out there that is having fun and enjoying themselves. So I just constantly ask questions. How do you do it? What's the key? The key is don't stop. But I also met a lot of people who went through the stages of life, having a family, having a busy career. I don't want to say letting yourself go, but not playing anymore and not taking care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And they came back to the sport much later in life. And what's really cool is once they got past, there is a challenge in getting back in shape when you've lost it, but you can get it back. Now they are healthy, they're off all their meds, they're enjoying their life, and it's pretty cool to enjoy your retirement. And how amazing to be able to retire and hike up a mountain or go on some 100-mile adventure, sign up for a race in a place you've never been and experience something new. So it really opened me up to the fact that there's nothing wrong with getting older. It's never too late to start. And it's just finding the motivation to do that. And sometimes you can do an online training app, you can hire a coach, you can talk to friends, you can join a run club. There are a bazillion ways that you can get yourself back in shape. You can have lofty goals at any age, doesn't matter. And if you are in that place in your life where you feel overwhelmed with work, family, and you think you don't have time, you do have time. Anything we care about in this life, you'll make time for. And if you care about having a fulfilling, happy life into your later years instead of being very unhealthy and incapable, why not start now? It's not that hard. You can get up a little bit earlier so that you can do a short run in the morning and still have time with your family and have breakfast together. You can throw in like a second half-hour run during your lunch break at work. Eat your lunch, go for a half-hour run. That's an easy way to do it too. Retired people are surprisingly busy. Oh my goodness, it's incredible. Between watching grandchildren, volunteering, just having different hobbies that are non-movement hobbies and working your schedule around all of the things you love to do because life is all about balance. And it's not just balance in, you know, exercise and work, it's balance in your soul. And you have to feel complete and you have to feel whole. And it's important to make sure that you're managing your stress well, you're managing your time well, you're getting plenty of sleep, and you have a network of friends where you can discuss everything. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to ramble on for a couple more minutes and I'll let you go on your way. So, anyways, about aging and getting involved in sports and having lofty athletic goals, all totally doable. You'll have to start small. If you have health conditions, you need to figure those out. You need to talk to your doctor. A lot of preventable health conditions can be overcome by simply starting with walking and changing your diet slightly. Never do anything extreme. Extreme diet changes, extreme exercise in the beginning, you're just going to burn out, you're going to fail, and ultimately you're going to hurt yourself. So it's all about easing in to any lifestyle change that you make. And whether you are finding yourself empty nester, a widow, tired of the way your life is, just looking for a change, want to really live your life, you can do it. And if you want some help, I can help you. I hope you all have a fabulous day.